For immigration law,
speak to Tan Law Solicitors.
for family law,
Speak to Tan Law Solicitors.
for employment law,
Speak to Tan Law Solicitors.
for wills and probate.
Speak to Tan Law Solicitors. At Tan Law Solicitors, we are on your side. Our proficient lawyers offer a range of legal services for both individuals and businesses. Book your 15-minute free consultation and mention the word radio. Visit tanlaw.co.uk.
For immigration law,
Speak to Tan Law Solicitors.
for family law,
Speak to Tan Law Solicitors.
for employment law,
Speak to Tan Law Solicitors.
for wills and probate.
Speak to Tan Law Solicitors. At Tan Law Solicitors, we are on your side. Our proficient lawyers offer a range of legal services for both individuals and businesses. Book your 15-minute free consultation and mention the word radio. Visit tanlaw.co.uk.
Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew Nyamayaro. I'm a solicitor at Tan Law Solicitors, and I'm just here to make some few points on immigration in the United Kingdom, and also hopefully respond to any of the questions that you might have. So if you have any question in relation to immigration to the United Kingdom, you can just put it in the chat section, and then I should be able to pick some of the questions and respond to those questions as we go on. Let me just emphasize that Tan Law Solicitors is a firm of solicitors or lawyers or legal practitioners. We are not a recruitment company or a recruitment firm, or neither do we refer people to recruitment companies. I'm saying this because of the current inquiries that we are getting from clients or prospective clients in relation to the HVG drivers. The update that I have in relation to HVG drivers or in relation to lorry drivers is that there has been a concession that has been put by the government, which basically is allowing non-visa nationals and people from EU to come to the United Kingdom and get the temporary short working visas, which will be granted at the port, subject to them meeting certain qualifications. So if someone is from a visa country such as Zimbabwe, as we stand, there is not yet a provision for the United Kingdom to recruit HVG drivers or lorry drivers from visa nationals. And in fact, the concession is mainly targeting people who are HVG fuel lorry drivers. I will try to put in a link from one of the sources that I have, and then people can follow that on. I'm having regular updates on this interesting topic about HVG drivers, because I'm getting a lot of inquiries from people regarding coming to the United Kingdom to drive lorries. We know that the United Kingdom is experiencing shortages when it comes to HVG drivers, poultry workers, and as I was reading today, I've also read that they might also be recruiting butchers or people who work in butchers from outside the United Kingdom as well. Quite an interesting development. I think this is all due to Brexit. When the United Kingdom left EU, I think this is some of the consequences of leaving the EU. So HVG drivers, the situation is still progressing, and I think slowly than what most people would have anticipated it to be. The concession relates to those people who drive lorries which convey or carry fuel, the HVG drivers for fuel containers. If you are from EU or from a non-visa national country, I beg your pardon, then you can be able to come. I've put that link on the chat, and people can then develop from there once they read that. And again, I just want to emphasize that for those people who are sending me text and WhatsApp messages saying, "Can I get a job? Can you employ me?" We are not recruiters. We do not recruit people. We are not a recruitment agency. We are a law firm. If you get an employer that has employed you to come to the United Kingdom, or you've got another route to come to the United Kingdom and you want assistance with the visa application process or advice, that's where we come in. And those are the updates that I've been giving since the story of the HVG drivers has been developing. Another interesting topic that came out this week is in relation to asylum seekers who have sought permission to work. Now, the current policy, or in terms of the current law, if you are an asylum seeker, you are not allowed to work. You are not allowed to seek employment, paid employment. You can do voluntary employment. You can do voluntary work. That's good for your asylum cases, or if you do voluntary work. But for paid employment or paid work, you cannot work until if your claim has been outstanding for more than 12 months. If your claim or application or further submissions are outstanding for more than 12 months, you can then make an application for permission to work. And the permission to work that they normally give is in sync or is in line with the skilled worker job list, shortage list. So that's the one which they normally give you. So it's not every job that you'll be able to do. It's the jobs that are on the shortage list that you'll be able to be employed in or to work in. But however, some people have been refused the permission to work, and recently, just this week or last week, the court held that this policy is unlawful as it does not take into account the best interests of minor children, Section 55. So we hope the Home Office is going to amend or change this policy and make it to take into account the best interest of minor children. This policy has always been challenged for so many times, even for it to just have the job shortage list. These things have been challenged over and over again, and the Home Office amends it, and it goes again for challenges and so forth. One would wonder why, especially at these times when there is shortages of employment or employees, why the Home Office or the government is not considering employing people who are here in the country, even if they are still asylum seekers. We have got certain professions, or who are professionals, or we have got certain qualifications. There are some people who, for example, were HVG drivers in their own home countries who can potentially cover the gap that is there in the market of lorry drivers. But I think this has been discussed with the Home Secretary, the Minister of Justice, and other relevant people in government and leaders, and some are for it, some are against it, but it's things that are ongoing and are developing as we go on. So those are the two updates that I had to give today before I start answering any questions that are in the chat. If you've got any question in relation to the United Kingdom immigration, you can put it on the chat, and then I'll be able to respond to that. So one of the questions that I have now is, how can a child born in Zimbabwe to a British father gain citizenship if they are still in Zimbabwe with the other parent? Are they still automatically British as they were born after July 2006? So if the child was born to a British father and they were born outside the United Kingdom, and they are a first generation of the British um, of the British father, not the second generation, then they can apply for the citizenship. They have to make an application which can be done online. And once the application is successful, then they can then get their British passport or their British. So what I'm saying is that for the first generation, they are automatically British as well, but they need to go through a process of getting their British passport, especially that they will be outside the United Kingdom, and the application is done online. And I think you will need two references to write references and so forth. So yeah, they will be British, but they have to go through the process of getting their British nationality. Okay. Um, how much does it cost to apply for the 20-year route and what is required? So the 20-year route is the route that is used by people who have been in the United Kingdom for 20 years, and they are able to prove that they've been in the United Kingdom for 20 years. And if it's in relation to the Zimbabwean community, most people came around the period 1999, 1998 to 2004. So most people will be almost within that bracket. And what you really need is that you need to show that you've been in the United Kingdom. You need to prove it, for example, by producing the landing cards, if you can get them, or the passport that you used to enter the United Kingdom. In most cases, the Home Office would have confiscated that passport. So you can make a subject access request to the Home Office so that you can get a copy of your file from the Home Office, the UKVI. So you can use that passport. You can use evidence such as utility bills, which is electricity, water, gas, council tax, academic certificates, any receipts that you got from the colleges that you are attending, P60, P45, HMRCE documents, NHS documents. If you've got an NHS number, you can request a copy of your file from the NHS or a GP. They can confirm how long you've been registered with them. You can get confirmation from your bank or the bank that you used to bank with. I know that over the years or over the time, because of poor advice and because of fear, people have destroyed most of their documents to prove their existence in the United Kingdom, or some people have used pseudo or false names or other people's identity to be in the United Kingdom. I think in those situations, you might need to seek legal advice so that you can be able to be advised how to progress your case. But there's no need for you to continue hiding if you're for 20 years. Some of these things you can address them through making a statement and getting supporting statements from family and friends and organizations that you have dealt with. If you have got a passport, you can produce the passport. Some people have not been able to get a new passport. You can address that and raise it as a reason, or you can use your national ID as well. So those are the type of information that you might need for you to be on the 20-year route. And the fee, the Home Office fee is currently £1,033 per person, per applicant. The insurance of the surcharge is, I think, 1,560, which includes the biometric enrollment fee. And then if you are using a legal representative, a lawyer, or a solicitor, whoever is helping you, they might charge their fee. You might get advice for free, or some people will charge for the advice. And yeah, I think that's basically really about the 20-year route and how much it costs. So you're looking at around 2,600 for the Home Office each applicant. And if you cannot afford the fees, you can consider applying for a fee waiver from the home office, or if you approach a firm that has got legal aid, or yourself, you can try to apply for what is called exceptional funding. If you get the exceptional funding, then you don't need to pay. The legal aid agents will pay on your behalf. What are the requirements? What are the requirements for the truck drivers who would want to apply to the United Kingdom on the driver scheme? So I have put a link for you. I'll put it again. This is the link of what is the current position for truck drivers. Checking the list in the link there. I've just put it again for you. Um, at the moment, they are just recruiting. We have got information for few HVG drivers from non-visa countries and from EU. I understand they wanted the initial 300, and only a few have applied. I think 127 or less have applied. There is not yet a concession or a guidance for visa nationals. So once there's a concession or a guidance for visa nationals, I will update you. But as it stands, it's still a developing situation. And just be careful for all people that are seeking work as HVG drivers. I've seen some adverts that are going on social media and so forth. Be careful to be scammed of your money and of your IDs and confidential information, because this is still a developing situation. Don't deal with the company until you have done your own due diligence. Not everyone who claims to be who they are really who they are. Are the asylum seekers given working rights? Are they allowed to work as a healthcare assistant? Yes, if you have been given the right to work, Youth and Social Care is on the job shortage list, if I call it that way. So you can be allowed to work as a healthcare if your prospective employer accepts you like that. So it is possible for you to work as a healthcare assistant if you've got the right to work. I tried to call you today. So if you call me on the mobile, on the WhatsApp, if I am occupied in court or in prison or in other meetings, you will not get a response. You can email us or call the office. There's always people in the office between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. UK time. Outside of that time, there will be no one else to respond. So the number that is on the screen now are the numbers that work, and I would prefer people to mainly try the office number before they try the mobile or the WhatsApp number, because there's always people in the office between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. How can I get a work visa, especially care worker? Are they openings? So I would want to assume that the person asking about care workers is outside of the United Kingdom. A lot of companies have applied for sponsor license to recruit people from outside the United Kingdom. So some companies are recruiting, some companies are marketing their services on social media or on WhatsApp and so forth. So, or if you want, you can go on the sponsor license register, which is online as well, and you can check for people who have, or companies that have got sponsor licenses, and then you can apply to them. But if you want to come to the United Kingdom to work as a carer or support worker or auxiliary nurse, in terms of the immigration, assuming that you've been accepted by an employer, you've met their recruitment demands, their job specification, and you meet their experience which they want and the qualifications in terms of immigration wise, roughly you are looking at having passed the English test at B1 level, having to satisfy the maintenance requirement, unless if you are being sponsored by your employer financially. having passed the TB test, paying the home office fee. I think it, and also the home office fee at the moment is quite reduced and exempt from IHS. You have to have a police clearance, and you are also allowed to bring your family, your dependents, your wife or partner or children can come as well, subject to meeting the home office requirements. So at the moment, companies are able to employ people from outside the United Kingdom to come and work as social workers, yes. They are also able to come and to work as carers. I've had some people that have been recruited from abroad, and some are still recruiting. And as always, like I said before, it's up to you to check whether or not you're dealing with a genuine company who meet the requirements around the sponsor uh, license register, because some people are being scammed as well. So it's just up to you to really exercise your own due diligence. How do you gain the indefinite leave to remain after legally married to them while holding refugee settled status? So I understand your question to say that if you are married to someone who've got refugee status, how can you get your indefinite leave to remain? So if so, I think there is two situations. It could be when they made the application and you were mentioned and you were part of the application from the start and you were granted the refugee status, dependent status from the start together. You've done your 5 years at the same time with the holder of the status. Then after 5 years, you can still get your indefinite leave to remain as the dependent. If you were then added as a dependent after they got their refugee status, you will still have to do your own period of 5 years as a dependent, and then you get your own settlement after that. So you find out that the holder of the refugee settlement status will get will get the status first or earlier than yourself. So it does not necessarily mean that if someone is holding a refugee settlement status, you automatically get refugee settlement status. You will start on the limited leave to remain. You might get your 2.5 or your 5 years, depending on the circumstances. And then ultimately, after your 5 years, you then get your refugee status. And if you are still married, you still obviously have to prove that the relationship is still ongoing. Um, People who get married to who are married to refugees fall into two categories: the pre-status partner and the post-status partner. So if you got married to the refugee post grant of their settlement, then the other requirement is that you need to meet the financial condition. So the 18,600 will need to be satisfied under those circumstances. But if you were with them before, or and you were part of the process, then you do not need to meet that requirement. Okay, after being granted asylum status, how long before are you eligible to travel from the country you ran from? That is a very important question. And a lot of people are now being contacted by the Home Office, or have been contacted by the Home Office, or the Home Office is scrutinizing people who have traveled to their home countries. So when you are granted refugee status, one of the conditions is that you cannot obtain a passport from the country that you ran from, and you cannot also return or visit that country that you came from. So you can go elsewhere, any part of the world. You get a travel document, and then you can travel wherever you want to, so many times you want. subject to immigration rules, and then you can do that. If you are on your 5 years, even when you get your settlement. In the past, the Home Office was just writing settlement, but now if you're a refugee, they now write refugee settlement. If you get settlement, you're a refugee, you cannot travel to your home country. You face questions from the Home Office, though you face curtailment of your refugee status. It is in my view and submission that you can only travel to your home country once you become a British citizen. If you're a British citizen, you can then travel to your home country because you're now a British citizen. You're no longer a refugee. So if you've got settlement, it is quite risky and I think wrong for you to then travel to your home country because the Home Office will really, if they find out, they will um, take you to task on that. So I think that is the position. You cannot travel whilst you have a refugee status or the settlement until you get your British nationality. I know that people have got different views on getting British nationality. Some would say we do not want to be British. Some would for whatever reason they have, or some would and some of their countries will not allow dual nationality, like countries like India, for example, you cannot have dual nationality and so forth. So you just have to be careful. Seek legal advice before you travel to your home country. I think linked to that as well is people who applied for asylum and were then refused asylum status, and they were given discretionary leave to remain, or for any other reason. It could be because for family life or a private life, or given it outside of the immigration rules. Again, I've heard of some reports or stories of people being questioned by immigration officers why they've traveled to their home country, whilst they'd initially claimed asylum, and then they decided to travel to their home countries. So, unless if it's really necessary, and I think people would really be missing home, or maybe there's something urgent or emergency, a family member is passed away, or there's a bereavement, or someone is in hospital, people do visit home. But with the latter case, I think you can try to justify yourself because you are not a refugee, you don't have protection in the United Kingdom, you were refused, so you can travel if you can show that the reason for your fear is no longer there. Um, okay, someone is saying that I went for biometric. Does it mean they will grant me? Going for biometric will not necessarily mean that they are going to grant you. Going for biometric is a process, it's part of the Home Office application. Whether or not they are going to grant you is another point on itself. But each application that has been made, people have to submit their biometrics. And with the current system, if you have made the usual limited leave to remain applications, which are done online these days, you submit your application online, and then you have to book your appointment to go to your nearest Home Office center or a visa center, and then you then do your biometrics there. The appointments are supposed to be free, but it's very rare to get a free appointment. You end up maybe buying another appointment, and if you want a priority decision, you also have to pay for a priority decision, £800 extra to the Home Office fee. So it doesn't necessarily mean that if you go for biometric, they're going to grant you. It's just part of the visa application process, or if you made maybe further submissions, because further submissions were being done through an email for the past 18 or so months during the COVID restrictions and lockdown. So you might not have had a chance to have your biometrics taken. So it's part of the process, but I wish you the best with your application. Okay, so I think I've answered most of the questions that I had. If you've got any questions, you can call the office on 02477632323 or send us an email. And there is also the mobile number, which will be answered when I am free, but not necessarily all the time, except when I'm not in court or not in detention center or prison or in a meeting. But we'll endeavor to respond to that. And the number that has been put by Rudo is the correct number there. Okay. So, in conclusion, the HVG driver situation is still developing. There's a concession that has been put out for HVG fuel truck drivers, those who are from non-visa nationals, and also the EU. I've put the link which you can follow up if you are from EU or non-visa countries. Unfortunately, Zimbabwe is a visa country, so we are yet to see what the Home Office is going to say. Thank you so much for joining me, and we should be able to catch up again next week. I do not have any other questions to respond to, so I think that's done. Thank you, everyone.